Hey everybody, my name is Jamie. I live in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, and I am 37. And I have had two liver transplants. I am doing this journal diary partly for myself, but also because I want other people to know who are going through similar things or maybe the exact same thing, that they're not alone. And I know that's such a cliche thing to say, you're not alone, but the classics hold true. You're not alone. Um, but some days do feel worse than others. And so I do have other journals and diaries that I did, like writing ones that I did as a kid growing up and in my teen years and early adult years. But I wanted to do this one because I just want to try to help some people the best way I can. And sometimes a simple way of doing that is to kind of give tools to other people of how to handle their challenges. And also, I just want to share my story. I just want to share my journey. And even if only one person watches, I it's worth it to me. And so I'm calling this a diary of a transplant patient, a liver transplant patient. And I, so yeah, I had my first liver transplant when I was 10 months old on July 16th, 1989, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Dr. Ricardo Superina did my transplant primarily. And yeah, I spent a lot of time at the hospital for sick children in Toronto as I went back and forth every summer from Victoria to Toronto every summer to get the tests I needed. And I want to send a huge shout out to the David Foster Foundation for helping me from the age of, I believe, 1 to the age of 18. And my goal is to start a foundation to help adult transplant patients because, well, the journey isn't done once you turn 18. But unfortunately, a foundation can only do so much. And sometimes it's one of those things where you just gotta either do it yourself or help make it happen in some way. So I'm hoping that I can create this foundation in the future and help other people who are going through organ transplant journeys. But for right now, I work part time selling lottery tickets here in British Columbia, and but my main goal professionally is I hope to become a counselor one day. But going to school and having the ability to go to school full time is just not possible for me. So I'm hoping one day to set up certain maybe online classes or, whatever, whenever I can afford it and make that dream a reality one day. But right now, I just kind of do my part time work and also just kind of manage my health challenges. 37 years as a transplant patient definitely presents a lot of challenges, but I think I've got things mostly handled. After a certain amount of time, it kind of becomes second nature. And I've had some people ask me, Jamie, how are you able to do it? How are you able to go through what you go through and just do it? And my basic answer is I just find the strength somewhere. I find the strength in laughing. I find the strength in my family and my friends. But some days are harder than others, and some days I do feel like throwing in the towel. I have to admit, but I just know that I have some purpose here. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if I even have a purpose for sure. None of us do for 100% certainty, other than to live. Um, but I want to do what I can to use my life to just help either people or situations, or just do what I can for people who are going through some really tough times. And I'm hoping that this diary can do that. Even if one person watches, it's worth it. Um, I I had my second transplant after being on the recipient list for about 4 years. When I was about 28, uh, I I could feel some things changing in regards to my first transplant. I was so grateful that I had reached the point I had reached, but eventually I did need another transplant, and I am so grateful that I got it. There's so much to go over in this diary. There really is. Um, and right now, today, I guess, is just introduction into my life. And so, basic cliff notes, the two transplants, and going through day by day the best I can. The main challenge these days is pain management, as 37 years of certain procedures have left a lot of scar tissue, and that is the main challenge, is managing that pain. And then, of course, I'm only almost 3 years post my second transplant. So there's, of course, the challenge is making sure it doesn't reject and that everything goes smoothly. And I have to take anti-rejection medication. There is going to be a video where I go through medications I take currently. And yeah, I that's pretty much it in regards to the cliff notes of everything. But I there are certain videos that I'm going to dedicate to somebody or a group of people, but I wanted to use this first video to explain who the entire diary is dedicated to. Every single episode you see is a overall dedication to these two people, and that is my two donors. I do not know who they are. I do not know really much about them, other than I know more about my first donor than I do about my second donor. My first donor was a young boy who fell off a jungle gym. He got brain damage, and I got a piece of his liver. I got a piece of his liver, which is called a reduced transplant. As some of you may know, the liver is one of the organs that can regenerate. And so, luckily, that first transplant grew with me as I grew. And so it was very difficult to lose that transplant when I lost it. I knew it was going to happen eventually. Either I was going to lose the transplant or I was going to pass away at some point. Hopefully not. I was hoping not until like in my 90s or something, if I was super lucky. But my first transplant lasted 34 years, and that to me is incredible. I was unbelievably thankful for that amount of time. I needed my first transplant because I had biliary atresia, and that is when the I guess called common bile duct is blocked or absent, or a bile duct is blocked or absent. Um, And so my liver really didn't stand a chance from the beginning. So I got my first transplant, and then, as I mentioned, my second transplant in 2023. My second transplant, as I said, I don't know as much about my second donor as I know about my first donor, um, but uh, I'm okay with that. To be honest with you, a lot of people have said to me, Jamie, these days you can find somebody so easily. Um, there's social media ways to find somebody, their, private investigation, anything. But that's not what I want to do. I don't want to be disrespectful to the wishes of the families of those that gave me this amazing gift. If they wish to remain anonymous, of course I respect that. And of course I am going to continue to respect that. Um, so instead, I hold them in my heart. I I hold them in ways that is really indescribable, because it's because of their family members that I'm still here today. And I cannot be more thankful for that. I live my life every single day in gratitude. Every tear I've shed, every laugh I've laughed, every song I've sang, every word I've spoken, everything I have done in my life, from the first transplant to this current moment, is because of you. Every wonderful thing I've gone through that has made me laugh, smile, cry, it's because of you. And I am so thankful. And so this entire series, this entire diary of a transplant patient, a liver transplant patient, is because of you. And I couldn't be more thankful. Yeah, it's just one of those things that continuously moves me, because for somebody to give up a piece of themselves so somebody else that they don't even know can live their life, or in the case of my first transplant, for a family member to give up a piece of their loved one so somebody that they don't even know and will never probably meet, to their knowledge, for them to survive. There's just no words to express my gratitude. So I'm going to do it through action, and that action is to share my journey, regardless if somebody thinks this is stupid, a waste of time, or anything. This is me sharing who I am and who I hope to be one day. And this is me sharing, even though you probably won't know, and I won't know who it is, this is me sharing the unbelievable, selfless act of various people so I can be here today, and I couldn't be more thankful. So going forward, I can't wait to just talk about what is happening, what did happen, or what might happen, and I hope it helps some people other than me as I express these things, which is more therapeutic than I think people might realize. And don't get me wrong, I have wonderful friends. I have my wonderful mom, Kathy, and my sister, Keegan, who I can talk to. But I'm doing it this way now, or I should say as well, um, because I think it will not only be beneficial for me, but it might be beneficial for someone else, and that possibility is pretty exciting to me. And I look forward to sharing my life going forward. But for now, I'm going to sign off and wish you all the very best in your life. And please take care of each other and take care of yourself, because you never know the impact you might have on somebody in their life. So strive to make a good impact on the world. That's what this diary is about. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon. I don't know how many episodes I will be doing a week, but life is unpredictable. You never know where I might do a diary entry. The only place I won't do it is a place that will bother somebody, like if I'm in a shared room at the hospital or something. I'm not going to do an entry there. I want to make sure people can sleep, of course. But yeah, you never know what might happen, where I might do an entry, or this whole thing is a giant question mark, but I'm very excited about it. So, my very best to everybody, my love to everyone, and stay strong in life. You're needed.